I'm fed up of wearing a beige banana, was the thought that went through a particular gentleman's mind. But rather than just thinking about it or putting his hearing aid in a drawer, he actually came up with a very innovative solution. And just by chance, the gentleman I'm referring to is with us right now. So I'm just going to give him an opportunity to introduce himself and tell you guys what all this is about.
Perfect. Thank you. So I'm Dan. I'm one of the founders of auzi, and I've been wearing a hearing aid since birth.
Oh, wow.
And you've noticed, or you may have noticed, I use singular. I'm supposed to wear two.
Okay.
So I have bilateral moderate hearing loss. And ever since I was a kid, and my mum and dad can attest to this, I've only worn one.
Right.
And of course, there's no other good reason other than feeling a bit of the stigma and just feeling a bit different. And I've actually not heard of beige banana before.
Okay.
And actually, now that you've said it, I'm like, yes, it's a perfect description. And I know it's not perfect in front of the camera, but you can probably see even from here. So I've got one of the beige NHS ones. And obviously, very, very grateful for NHS and being prescribed. But I'll give you maybe an anecdote. I think we spoke about this earlier, which was, like any good young guy these days, I delayed going into the doctor as long as I could, audiology specifically. And I went in maybe a month ago, and they said, "You've not been in for a long time." And I was like, "Yes, you got me." And they said, "You can do it when you do it." And I went in for the appointment, and they said, "Yeah, it's been a while. Hearing aids have come on a big way. Very technology driven now, like super modern." And they get you excited. They're like, "Oh yeah, brilliant! Yeah, this is cool." And they bring it out, and genuinely, and I know there's more to it than just the aesthetic, but they brought it out, and I was like, that was identical to mine, only slightly longer, and the same shade of off skin tone beige, and I was like, not sure this is getting where we need to be. So yeah, to your point, we started auzi, which is hearing aid jewelry, and my partner Daniela, she's been in the jewelry industry for a decade. You point out what I'm wearing, I have no fashion sense at all. So she is the expert. And one day, just over a year ago, we kind of sat down and thought, not sure anyone's doing this in a big way in hearing. And selfishly, I was thinking, I'd love to have something cool. When my birthday was coming up, I said to Danny, "Can you just make me something for hearing aid?" She was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, sounds, well, not easy," but she was like, "I can do that." And I was like, "Oh, wow." So we made something.
So have you got some things you're going to show us?
Yeah.
Oh. So have you got some things that you could show us then?
Absolutely. Let me it's just out of reach.
That's what editing's for, don't worry.
Absolutely.
I may or may not, depending on how lazy I'm feeling.
In true Blue Peter style, hopefully most people get that reference.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
So I can show you, we have a couple of cases. So as I mentioned, Daniela is a jewellery expert, she's been designing jewellery, she knows the industry amazingly well. And what we've done, here is ironically my old hearing aid. So as soon as I got a case made, I got a new one, which is typical. But I'll show you this on camera. So this is gold-plated silver with synthetic mosenites, which gives you the appearance of diamonds for about £1,000 price tag, obviously. And essentially what we said was, why don't we do something similar to how you have a phone case? So you might have like an iPhone 12 or a Samsung Galaxy, etc. And obviously it's really important with hearing, which we spoke about, to have the buttons in the right place and not covering microphones, etc. And with some tech and mainly Daniela's experience, really, we're able to put this together. So it fits perfectly, as you would a phone case. And essentially we're saying to the world, I wear hearing aids, and you know what? It can look good. It can be fashionable. And it's something that you're not ashamed of, and something you don't want to hide.
And so tell us a little bit more about your journey with hearing loss, because this isn't just some random money-making thing that you thought, oh, everyone's doing it, let me jump on the latest trend. So you've obviously got first-hand experience of wearing hearing aids. So can you tell us a little bit more about your journey?
Absolutely. So I'm supposed to wear two, only wear one since a very young age. So there's definitely a genetic component. My older brother has the same thing, so bilateral moderate loss. And I think for me growing up, it's funny, people were never rude or trying to tease me, but they would always ask questions in a way that was like, that's kind of weird. What is that? Especially when you're growing up as a kid and people maybe don't explain things as well. And the thing that always got me was, and I know it's very different worlds, but when it comes to classes, there seems to be a real acceptance and almost element of they're allowed to look good. And I remember recently, I think it was somewhere in the US, just walking through one of the downtown areas and saw a billboard. It was called Burberry, so as fashionable as it gets, and it was for glasses.
Wow!
And it looks very cool. You know, two really cool models, like kind of proper, style and posing. And I remember I took a picture of it, and I remember thinking, I could never in a million years imagine that for hearing it. You'd never have like here's a billboard with hearing and someone looking good. And the thing I've started thinking about recently, related to my experiences, I guess if you think about it, you've got earrings, so jewelry, looks cool. You've got even AirPods, looks cool, or fashionable and trendy. I know they're doing hearing stuff now. You've got glasses, again, can look cool. It's almost like an inverse Venn diagram in a way, where hearing aids are on, just as I feel as a wearer, they're on like their own desert island of just super clinical. I know it's a medical device, technically, I think. I understand that, but it feels like nobody's really said, why can't they look good? And yeah, to your point, I mean, we're certainly people with experiences, and to be honest, selfishly, I just wanted something for me. But I think by that deduction, our guess, and as we've heard from many people already, others feel the same. And the one that I saw recently was, I don't know if you would have seen this, I need to obviously always double check the sources and can't believe everything you see on the internet, but from what I've seen, around 20%, only 20% of people who need hearing aids wear them, apparently.
Yeah, that sounds like it could be right, yeah. Because in the mild area, it's probably... Sorry, I was just going to say, in the mild loss area, the figure that comes to mind, it might be somewhere between 75 and 90%. It's only a very small percentage of people who address their hearing loss, even with all the mounting evidence to say that would be a good idea. And we did speak earlier about just a weird conversation I had with a former colleague. I used to work in a well-known audiology/opticians clinic, and did ask someone very senior in the optics department, what's the most expensive set of spectacles that you guys have ever fitted? And they had some bespoke options, and apparently it was for well over £20,000. So in my head, because I'm into technology, I thought these must have been the most phenomenal lenses ever. They must have been having me seeing through walls, and apparently they were just clear lenses. The young gentleman who bought them had these jewellery encrusted cool frames with clear lenses just for the aesthetic. So we was just saying, at the moment, that hasn't happened with hearing aids. But I think to give Signia their credit, Signia have kind of gone really left with the appearance of hearing aids. And I think as well, Resound, with their purchase of Jabra and putting the internals in their hearing aids, they've gone for the hidden in plain sight thing where people go, hey, I like your headphones. So there are definitely some moves with the cosmetics, but nothing to the extent that you guys have done, basically. So what we'll do, we'll try and get some still shots and I'll shove them on as B-roll. But I think the question on everyone's mind is going to be, there'll be a couple of things. Firstly will be, okay, cool, this all sounds very expensive and, very bespoke. Is it like buying a Lamborghini and speccing it out and I've got to wait 3 years to get it? And that's, so that's number one. Number two would be, hey, if I get a really cool design, can that be my exclusive design? Is there a more premium way of saying this is the Matthew Pearson, so ruby encrusted, yellow coloured, whatever, so you get your particular model? So that will be the second question, I think. And then thirdly would be, okay, I want some of these, how do I get them? So, if you can remember those, I'm going to put that over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, so I guess we've got the pricing element, the bespoke element, and then where, I suppose.
Yeah, okay, I want some. Where do I get them from?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the pricing one's good to cover first. So to your point, it's sort of thing, especially these ones.
Yeah.
So they do look very kind of premium and everything. The good thing is, and a lot of this, of course, is Daniela's experience. I'll walk you through these ones specifically on this case. So it's gold plated silver. So the actual underlying metal is obviously much cheaper, much more affordable. The stones you'll see, I know the BB will obviously, looks like diamonds. It's synthetic moissanite. So it gives you a diamond-like appearance without the cost. It's very common in the jewelry industry. So this one, we actually have it on the website at the moment, would be $350. And I guess like we were speaking about, especially if you're going in and obviously purchasing a pair of hearing aids, a lot of the models these days are, maybe a few thousand potentially. And I guess ultimately it's that thing around, if I have something that really gives me a lot more confidence, feels like it's more me, and I'll actually wear it and I'll be able to hear properly and I won't feel stigma. It's something that we certainly feel is worthwhile. In terms of the bespoke thing as well, absolutely. So what we've said to people is you can make your own. So essentially you can come to us and just get in touch and say, hey, we're speaking to a lady this week actually who's in the archaeology world, and she's really into runes and really symbolic, different symbols that really have lots of meaning for her. So actually working with her and putting something together. And the thing that we spoke to somebody about recently was, when you think of bespoke, you might imagine it's very expensive, but really obviously it comes down to metals and gemstones. And what we said to people is very similar to a lot of the other designs. It could be as little as $350. Obviously it depends if you want diamonds and 24 karat gold. Might be a stretch to get to $350 certainly, but that's something we're really keen on. And to your point, it might be the case that you have something that only you have, which would be amazing. Really speaks to you and your identity, and it's something you can show up and speak about to people. Okay. And then in terms of where we are, we're auzi, so auzi.me. I'll give you a good laugh actually. Aussie.com wasn't available, unfortunately. It was an Australian insurance company, so it makes sense. So last year, I sent my parents the first version of the website, and I was like, guys, this is amazing. I've just made this. Obviously, B1, very, very rough draft. My mum was like, why on earth have you sent me this website from Montenegro? Because it was .me.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh. She was like, kind of what's the deal with spam? And I was like, okay. So maybe we'll get a new domain at some point. But I guess besides the point, on Instagram with Aussie.me as well. Trying to get into TikTok. You're very good at it, so like
it's probably worth it.
More visual. And we're starting to speak to a few more clinics. So it might be the case that you pop in with you guys potentially at some point, and when you get a hearing aid, you can then ask for a case, whether it's pre-made or bespoke as well. So that's part of the plan.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic. So, this is our first meeting, so I had a little bit of an insight, but I just wanted to leave most of the conversation for just here. So I've learned a lot. Hopefully you guys have. Would be great to hear your comments. So we always like to do slightly different content, so I was really excited about this meeting. But what do you think? Is it something you would be interested in? What sort of design would you come up with? Who could you see this being for? Do you think it would appeal more to the younger, the older market? But let me know your thoughts. It would be great to hear. And usual request, because we like to get this information out as widely as possible, so it helps the algorithm if you can like. We'd love it if you could share. Obviously, subscribing will be great, helps us to grow the channel, and any comments, we'll try and come back to you, and that will further help, drive engagement. So look, have a fantastic rest of your day, and this is Matthew from Zone 1 Hearing, and just make sure this is the year that you do something about your hearing.